I'll be leading you through this endeavor. So scaling up the platform, that's our mission, to talk about how we can solve this chicken and egg problem. A new business struggles to find the first customers. Well, if it's a platform, it's a really difficult task. So many user-driven businesses fail in the early stages, even when seeding from the startup. And this is particularly true for platform businesses. Something about the mutual baiting problem, and that is no producer equals no consumer equals no producer. So two-sided businesses typically have a producer side and a consumer side, which are typically distinct roles. For a two-sided business to work, both producers and consumers need to be on the platform. However, producers won't come to the platform without consumers and vice versa. Customers act as bait to get the producers to come in and vice versa. This is the mutual baiting problem that such networks suffer from, which needs to be overcome to seed the platform with users on both sides and spark interactions. This is often referred to as the chicken and egg problem, which isn't really accurate, as the problem is less about seeding one side first and more about bringing the two together so that they can attract each other. PayPal was having a difficult time getting started until they bribed the first set of users to come on board with a $10 credit. So how do we go about solving this problem? It's common to all platforms, and the key to overcoming it is to subsidize the early users. There are three main ways for a platform to subsidize value, and these are monetary subsidies, product features, and user sequencing. What do we mean by monetary subsidies? These include decisions about pricing, as well as things like loyalty programs and referral fees. For product features, many platforms create special functionality for key users in order to increase loyalty and usage among particular vulnerable user groups. Both of these types of subsidies are guided by decisions on user sequencing, which involves deliberate prioritizing the acquisition of certain user groups that others will want to interact with. These three ways of subsidizing the platform are not mutually exclusive and may in some cases be applied all at the same time. Monetary subsidies are of two types: enter with a significant pre-investment and build a cooperative strategy. A good example of the first subsidy is Microsoft's introduction of the Xbox. They made it clear that they were going to spend $500 million in developing this product, and that made potential application developers for the product pretty comfortable that Microsoft was serious and wasn't just going to abandon them. Back in 2007, Google was in a precarious position. The company owned desktop search, but the mobile internet was starting to take off. With the iPhone runaway early success, Google was worried that mobile would become Apple's walled garden. Luckily, it wasn't alone. Handset manufacturers and telecoms not named AT&T shared the same fear. So Google created the Open Handset Alliance, OHA, a group dedicated to advancing global Android operating system. In essence, Google used a cooperative strategy rather than trying to build a network all its own. Google tapped into the existing sales channels of the companies in the OHA to spread Android to consumers. With Android enjoying more than 80% worldwide market share for mobile OS and having more than 1.3 million apps on its Play Store. The strategy worked out pretty well. Product features, of course, have a couple of ways of exhibiting their value: to act as a producer or to use an evolutionary strategy. Why bother getting two user groups at the same time when you can only focus on one? That's the idea at the heart of the strategy, where platform acts as the producer to attract an initial group of consumers. It then uses its existing consumer base to attract producers. This was the case with the iPhone. When it first came out, Apple didn't allow third-party apps. Once Apple had attracted a large group of customers, it opened the App Store to enormous success. In using an evolutionary strategy, it can be shown as an example with Airbnb. They tied into a pre-existing network. The company tapped into Craigslist, a large network, by offering an improved experience for short-term rentals. It then used features like its famous and now defunct Publish on Craigslist button to make it easy for its hosts to publish their Airbnb listings on Craigslist. But anyone responding to the listings would still reach the hosts through Airbnb. Airbnb apparently also simply spams Craigslist with posters to get more hosts. Don't think you can get away with repeating the same Craigslist trick. Craigslist was quick to ban Airbnb's tactic once it discovered what was going on, and it since banned any similar activity on its site, including a potential fine of $25,000 a day. So we can monetize our monetary subsidies and product features both. In other words, we can create a single or double-sided marquee strategy. This strategy was used by Uber when it launched in Seattle. It subsidized town car participation by paying drivers even when they weren't transporting customers. This subsidy brought high-value producers into the ecosystem, which in turn attracted paying customers. Dating sites are another example. They're heavily male, so they often let women join for free. We can target a user group to fill both sides. This recipe for success for handmade goods from platform Etsy early in research indicated that people most likely to buy handmade goods were the people who also sold them. So the company decided to focus on this user group to fill both sides of the marketplace before expanding to other audiences. Last but certainly not least is providing single user utility. This is a come for the tool and stay for the network approach, where you attract one side of your multi-sided platform by offering that user group value even if the other side never shows up. Many platforms that went this route were initially apps that provided their users with essentially functionality even if the network never materializes. Early Instagram is a great example, as it provided its users with a way to take photos and make them look good long before it evolved into a full-fledged social network. The same was true for the restaurant booking platform OpenTable. Used a similar strategy in order to get restaurants on board. The company realized that even the top restaurants in San Francisco didn't have a back-end reservation system. They still were using pen and paper to track reservations. So OpenTable built a software application to handle the electronic booking and targeted the top 20 in San Francisco, offering to help these restaurants set up the system. After these restaurants were on board, now remember these are the top 20 restaurants, other restaurants who wanted to become like them became interested. And with this core group of restaurants on board, OpenTable was able to successfully open its platform to allow customers to book reservations online. In conclusion, so those are the 7 key strategies for getting your platform off the ground. While early customer acquisition is especially tough for platforms, creative use of these strategies should help you overcome the chicken and egg problem and attract your first users. After that, it's time to start building your network effects. Rev your long-term growth engine. Thanks for listening. I'm Victor Verpelay.